Hi everyone, good evening. And that was Govind sir taking your session of the Hindu news analysis right now. And I'm back immediately after that. So I'm sure it's going to be a little bit tiring day for all of you, but that's okay. I think it's this is one important session. Okay, so we'll go ahead with that. And so today is 6th of October, and we are exactly 60 days away from CLAT 2026, which is scheduled on 7th of December. Okay, so exactly 60 days are left now for the examination. I'm all right. So many messages out there. Good evening, sir. How are you doing? I'm all good. I hope you all are preparing seriously for your examination now. And because the days go ahead are going to be quite hectic, you have just finished with your half yearly exam, most of you, and the festive season is already on. And I don't know how many of you would be getting into the pre-board exams from November end itself. If you are lucky in the sense that probably it starts around first week of December, but unluckily, the all your law entrances are scheduled. That typically, if you talk about the NLU entrances, CLAT and ILET, they are scheduled while you'll be writing your pre-board examinations, isn't it? So everything has to go side by side simultaneously. So it's important to understand. Now, before I go ahead talk about the next 60 days strategy, there are a couple of things I would like to talk about. Number one is while you may say that it's not directly related to me, but I think there's no harm in exploring. I'm sure all of you have heard about IIM Bangalore, and if you have mathematics in class 12, you should definitely explore this. IIM Bangalore has announced the entrance for its full-time residential program starting next year, Bachelor of Sciences in Economics and Bachelor of Sciences in Data Science. So the entrance is scheduled on 13th of December. If you do have mathematics in class 12th, I think you should definitely explore that as well. The forms are coming out on 10th of October. So we'll keep you posted anyways. The other aspect is now it's a very crucial time at if you talk about with 60 days remaining for the examination. I'm sure you are at the peak of your preparation, but the pressure is also mounting upon considering the pre-boards will be happening around the exam time. I'm sure that is already playing with your nerves, isn't it? But the right strategy is to control that, control your nerves, don't get swayed away. That's very, very important. So I think it's also important to take that important call. At this point, for the next 60 days, what is important? Please understand the fact that you have already appeared for the half yearly examination. The pre-boards will be happening around your law entrances. But after that, once you have completed your AILT on 14th of December, I think after that, you get straight roughly around 2 months for your board exams. This time they are starting early, but still you will get 2 months to prepare for it actually. And I'm sure you are already in touch with your syllabus, so that should not pose much of a problem. So point here I'm trying to make is next 60 days, can you give some extra time to your CLAT and AILT preparation? And that would really help actually, because this is the time which can make or break. It is all about keeping your nerves. It is all about consistency. It is all about determination. At the same time, it is all about dedication as well. So all has to go simultaneously. Consistency, determination, dedication, everything has to be there in place. And more importantly is keeping your nerves. So with that note, let me go ahead and talk about what should be the plan for next 60 days. Now, first and foremost, when we are looking at future, when we are looking at any future plan, it is important to understand the present itself. Where are you at this point of time? What is your current status? Do you understand where do you stand right now? Do you know which are your areas you are really good at? Do you know which are the areas which has become a hurdle in your preparation? I'm talking about the weak areas basically. Have you analyzed seriously the 5-7 mocks, the last 5-7 mocks which you have taken recently? Are the scores improving? Are the scores dropping? There is a fluctuation out there. That's okay. It's okay to have that fluctuation. But if you're maintaining your percentile, that's the most important factor. Percentile has to be maintained because it gives a real picture about the difficulty of the examination, isn't it? And that is the reason why you should always look at the percentile. That's very important. It's a wonderful parameter to judge yourself. But before you plan anything for the future, the most important is to know where you stand at this point of time, your current position, will determine what should be the steps you'll be taking to improve upon. So how do you look at your present, how you are performing in the examination, the mocks basically I'm talking about, even the sectional test, how you are doing over there, what is your performance, is your accuracy, what is your speed out there, is everything in place? You know that there is a stability in your mocks, there is an improvement as far as your graph is concerned, or it is falling actually, so it might become a point of concern. So finding your weak and strong section clearly is very, very important before you start making any plan for the future, which means before you start making any plan for the next 60 days. तो प्रेजेंट को समझना बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है बिफोर यू स्टार्ट प्लानिंग योर फ्यूचर. That is very, very important. You should stay rooted in your present. Now, if I were to summarize the entire game from now onwards, it is all about how much time you allocate to your strong areas, to your weak areas. Remember, when you look at CLAT as an examination, and if you look at the last 5 years cutoffs, the magical number which we talk about every time, if I look simply at 2025, you need at least 95 plus to be in the top three. When you talk about NLS Bangalore, when you talk about Nalsar Hyderabad, when you talk about NEJS Kolkata, you need 95 plus to be in the top three. Anything above that will definitely maximize your chance. Now, this is the magical number you have to keep in your mind. And those who might be of the belief that, okay, I'm not going to reach there, probably 80 is even okay, that will lead me to at least one of the national universities, I think you can definitely shun this thought at this point of time. Iski zarurat nahi hai. 60 days are good enough to make whole lot of changes out there in your preparation. 60 days are good enough to ensure that you reach this number, you breach this number. It is all about how you plan from tomorrow onwards for the next 60 days. So whatever time you are spending, at least typically if you ask me at this point of time, your CLAT prep should be around 4 to 5 hours daily. Now, I do understand that most of you are in school right now. You have your class 12, you have to go to your school. Attendance in most of the cases might be mandatory. If not, then you are in a good position. But if attendance is still mandatory in your school, and the old school, basically, I would say, because most of the schools are now allowing students some liberty as far as exam prep is concerned. Now, 4 to 5 hours of dedicated study every day, focused towards CLAT and ALT is very, very important. And that's the minimum I'm asking for it actually, and that's the minimum you should invest. Better would be to place at least 6 to 7 hours, but whatever time you are able to give to yourself as far as the prep is concerned for the two exams, please ensure that you dedicate now at least 60% of your time to make improvements to your weaker areas, because you cannot go to the actual exam with lots of weaknesses out there, because the moment you have lots of weaknesses, then this magical number will go out of reach, and we have to reach there. That is very, very important. You have to reach to that magical number. इसको बिल्कुल ध्यान में रख के चलना है. That is very, very important. तो ये चीज ध्यान में रखो. Comment says your video is stopping. I can see it's good out here. The connection is stable completely. In fact, my platform definitely indicates if there is an issue, but I think there's no issue being indicated over here. So do check at your end as well. Okay, so let's coming back. Okay, so very important that you start working on your weak areas. Now, how that is possible? That is possible by looking at the analysis which you have been doing after writing your mocks, and some of you also do the analysis for the sectional test. Now, a good strategy would be to compare your performance of the last 5 sectionals with the previous, the ones you have taken before the last 5. Compare the 10 sectional test performance across the 4 areas, 5 areas, and see what the graph talks about actually. That will give you a real picture about each of the areas. You can even take your mock in the form of sectional test, but that is very, very important to understand for each of these sections, whether it is the comprehension section, whether it is the logical reasoning section, or for that matter, legal, GK, or quantitative technique. Between all the 5 sections, first of all, which is the section which definitely needs an improvement, and if you do that, you can reach to that magical number. Second is, how the graph looks like at this point of time, which are my weakest areas within that particular section. Let's allocate 60% of my time, at least if not for the next 60 days, at least for the next 30 days, to ensure that I convert them, most of it, at least 80 to 90% of my weaknesses get converts towards strength. That is very, very important. Now, if I talk about from a sectional perspective, see, for all the 5 section, one thing which definitely is important is regular practice. There is no substitute. And I think I need not reiterate this. You all understand this. You are mature enough. You have seen enough mocks. You have taken so many sectional tests. You are attending classes regularly. You know that when it comes to an examination like CLAT, it is all about being regular. It is all about being in the practice mode all the time. That's what really helps. That consistency in being in the practice mode really helps. So if I go by section, I would say for the reading comprehension section, continue practicing RCs, if not on a daily basis, on alternate days, from mocks and these sectional tests. If you have already finished your study material, mocks continue to happen in 7 days time frame. You are actually looking at 3 mocks. So continue practicing the mocks, continue working on the sectional test. For LST students, sectionals are being released gradually. New set of sectional tests are getting released gradually. You also have your daily days for practice. So in fact, Ayushi ma'am has already released the 90-day plan earlier, which is also there on the top band on your My Zone. If you have not already seen that, please see that and make it a calendar that you're following on a daily basis, what exactly she has suggested. And that's definitely going to help you out. Now, when you are practicing, also look at what are the most common type of questions which are asked, whether it is in terms of any particular theme, any particular tone. You should definitely analyze the last 5 years paper if you have not done already. And also from the mocks, it's very, very important that you bring those common elements and start working towards that. Any specific topic which is troubling you, that's the matter of concern, and that can give you that improvement. Remember, 0.25 marks is something which can make a lot of difference as far as your ranking is concerned. So even if you get 1 or 2 points from where you are right now in the next week, and again ensuring that you make such improvements happening continuously for the next 60 days, that magical number will definitely not be out of reach. So go back to the basics once again. If you have any doubts, connect with your faculty members, sit with them, clarify, but ensure that your doubts gets eliminated, you're able to convert. But for that to happen, your regular practice mode becomes very, very important. So passages must be taken up on a daily basis. Minimum 3 to 4 passages must be practiced. Your previous mocks are a good tool. Your upcoming mocks are there. You have your sectional test. You have PYQs. Lot of content out there. Nothing short of, actually, there's a lot of content out there. You should definitely keep yourself in practice mode. Legal reasoning, continuous revision. Most of you enjoy the legal reasoning section. Most of you definitely love this particular section, and that is evident from the mock scores which I keep looking at. You guys do really well over there. I think it's probably the love for the subject which you are going to study in the law school, but very important for you to ensure that while it might be a strength, you continue building on that. There's no harm in getting 32 out of 32. That might take care of some of the other section. It's always important to build, कि continue building your strong area, isn't it? उसको काम करते रहना बहुत ही जरूरी है. So continue revising 4 to 5 rounds of revision in the next 60 days. There's no harm in that, and ensure you practice across all the 4-5 major topics. Constitution हो गया, family law हो गया, contracts, criminal law, civil law, इनके ऊपर practice करना बहुत ही important है. Current legal affairs, very, very important. Anyways, you guys are attending Govind sir's Hindu analysis, so he whatever is important out there, he definitely covers that. So you should definitely work on that, isn't it? But जहां पर भी problem है, for every section, I would say जहां पर भी problem has, make a list in the next couple of days and start solving questions related to that particular topic which is troubling you. The more you start solving, you'll realize in next 17 days you are getting better at it. So when solving, look at the problem. What is the problem out there? Is it related to the concepts? You still do not understand the concept, or is it the application? You are getting it wrong, you are not applying the concept properly. There's no harm talking to your peers who are really doing well in any of these sections, including legal reasoning. There's no harm connecting with your faculty members, seeking their advice as to how do I approach these areas, these particular topics within this section, which are troubling me. Actually, most of the time it is all about basics, so improving on the basic is very, very important. Logical reasoning, while you see the questions are framed against the passages, but the basics are very, very important. Practice basic theories of arguments, how arguments are formed, assumptions, conclusion, inference building. That is very, very important. So next 2 months, this is what you should be definitely doing. And don't ignore the analytical reasoning, because please understand, finally they have introduced, okay, it's a different story, the entire set was wrong, but they introduced analytical reasoning in the form of puzzle. There were 6 questions last year in the paper, so there's no harm, and you don't know whether they'll go ahead and ensure that out of the 24 questions in logical reasoning, probably instead of 6 there could be 10, 12, or 50-50 distribution might be happening. So there's no harm in practicing different types of questions out there. And similar to every other section, identify the topics which are troubling you and keep practicing them. Anyways, reasoning is all about practice. The entire paper, anyways, is all about practice. But reasoning, तो देखो practice से improve होता है. Problem area for almost 50% of the audience. The next two are definitely problem areas. One is the GK current affairs involving the static GK. The other is the quantitative techniques. So let's look at one by one. Many a times you have asked this question to almost every faculty member, including me, that is Manthan a good resource? Yes, it's a good resource. 90% plus hit is there actually. If you have done it carefully, if you have been consistent with Manthan, both the Manthans, very, very important. I always recommend 3 sources. One is newspaper, which it has to be Hindu or Indian Express. The second is the Manthans. And one of the most critical tools sometimes ignored is the mocks. Now, you might be wondering why I should look at a mock which was conducted in the month of February or March or April. Because please understand, there is no specific guidelines that, okay, we are going to give you topics, the current affairs topics, the historic, important, significant events from last 4 months, 5 months. If you analyze the last 5-year trend, and if we covered that in the RTNLU earlier, the Head Start session on 20th of July, if you remember that, over the years, it has varied. Last 2 years, there are 2 passages which are typically static, picked up from NCRT. But the other 3 have been from the previous 3 months, 4 months. But if you go back 22, 21, they have even gone to the extent of covering a year or more than a year. Now, that may not be possible at this point of time. If you have not heeded to the advice earlier, वो possible नहीं है. So it's best that you revise the Manthan and the mock topics in the reverse chronological order. Make a plan that in every week you are going to cover 2 months. Current months you'll continue to build up as the news unfold, as the events unfold, but you should also go back to September, August in that order. Don't start directly from January. There's no harm covering till January. जितना पीछे जा करके, but starting immediate months, the preceding months, उसको follow that order actually and go back, and over the next 40-45 days ensure that you are covering January onwards, if not at least March onwards cover करने की कोशिश करो, so that there is no gap left actually as far as the actual paper is concerned. Limit yourself now to the 3 sources, and believe me, if you ask me, I think these 2 are going to be the most important resources at this point of time. Your Manthan and your mocks, they are going to be the most important ones. Quantitative techniques, first and foremost, time and again we have spoken about this. This has to go. It's one of the easiest section. You are basically carrying that fear ahead actually, that you have to let go. Even if you practice from now onwards, and believe me, even if you do that on alternate days, if you spend just an hour, alternate days, not every day, it's good enough to ensure that your fear goes away and you'll see that at least out of 12 you are getting anywhere around 6 to 7 marks, and that is what you should be looking at. Set a target. If you're not attempting, set a target that your goal is to get those 6 7 numbers from here. That will make your job easier as far as overall that magical number achievement is concerned. And what exactly is getting covered? You may have sets, but it is all about arithmetic. It's about percentage, it's about ratios, it's about averages, mensuration. Yahi topics hai na? So you have to build upon that. 7 8 topics you have to cover. Your basic numerical calculation has to be there, which gradually becomes better if you continue practice. So even if you solve 1 to 2 data sets on an alternate day basis, through the mocks, through the sectionals, that would be good enough. But try giving yourself an hour on alternate. So in a week, 3.5 hours will be good enough actually, because you are also writing at least 3 mocks in a particular week actually. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लेक्स कैलकुलेशन पे वर्क करो, पास्ट ईयर ट्रेंड्स को देखो, पास्ट ईयर पेपर्स को देखो. Lastly, it is very important not to ignore the past year questions. Past year papers for 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6 past years papers are there actually. Over the next 60 days, unko ek do baar definitely, except for the GK, definitely check the other 4 sections, and there's no harm practicing those questions again and again. Revision is going to be the key. And finally, if it is possible, ensure you are taking the mock test between 2 to 4 p.m. Now, this may not be possible for each one of you. This may definitely not be possible for each one of you, because you might have classes, you might be going for the classes, or your batch is planned at that point of time. But whenever possible, try taking the mock at that point of time only, so that your biological clock sets from now onwards. Good time post lunch to feel sleepy, isn't it? So there's no harm writing the mocks whenever possible between 2 to 4 p.m. And that is something which is definitely going to help you out. So I think it's all about the basics. There is nothing extraordinary to be done. It's all about basics which you have to work upon next 60 days. And believe me, it's doable. We have seen toppers earlier. I talked with data. I don't tell stories. I know we have had toppers earlier, 45 days of preparation, and that is always possible. It is all about keeping those C's and D's I spoke about, the consistency, the dedication, and determination. They are going to be very, very important. So that is very, very important. Let me take up a few questions out here before closing the session. What is going to be the predictable difficulty level of the examination? While a standard answer would be, I'm not an astrologer, but I think neither too hard nor too easy actually. So it's going to be one medium difficult level paper, but don't underestimate the competition. Even on a medium difficult level paper, that cutoff would still be more than 95. That's what my belief. At the end of the day, please understand, here the intake is quite low. So the success rate for NLS Bangalore is just around 0.5%. 0.05%. तो उसको ध्यान में रखना है. What should be the ideal hours to study in a day? I already spoke about that. Possibly 6 to 7 if you're a school going student. If you're a dropper, 13 14 hours. 5 to 6 minimum is what you should be looking at. It is all about timing, it is all about planning, and it is all about being consistent. Making a plan is the most easiest thing one can do for oneself, but sticking to that is very, very important, isn't it? So that's very, very important. As far as the last 2 CLAT papers are concerned, they are not difficult. Can we expect this year exam to be of that level? We can. So see, please understand, don't get into that prediction mode, easy hoga, difficult hoga, or medium difficult hoga. All your job is to prepare for the examination. If it is going to be difficult, it is going to be difficult for everyone on 7th of December. If it's easier for everyone. Like I always say, agar paper weird hoga, to sabke liye hoga na. मजे सबके हो जाएंगे. तो टेंशन किस बात का है? Just don't look at others, don't look at their faces, go enjoy your paper. That's very, very important. Okay. I'm struggling to cover the backlog due to the exams recently. First and foremost, Kushagra, I think I saw you were there in Govind sir's session, maybe background mein tha. First and foremost, my suggestion would be for the next 60 days, forget about anything else. School exams ho gaye. Half, देखो, pre-boards मार्कशीट नहीं बन के आएगा, मार्कशीट एक्चुअल बोर्ड एग्जाम बन के आएगा, उसके लिए 2 मंथ्स बनेंगे। स्कूल जाते रहो, टच में रहो, बट नेक्स्ट 60 days आई थिंक दैट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। तो थोड़ा एक्स्ट्रा आवर्स लगा करके यू कैन डेफिनेटली, देयर इज नो डैमेज आई वुड से, यू कैन डेफिनेटली कवर अप probably by giving 1 to 2 hours on a daily basis extra in addition to what I have already suggested. ठीक है, I have heard कि लास्ट के डेज में we don't have to do new GK. Last 10 days we are living in a world which is quite advanced, my dear friend. अब 1 महीने लगते हैं पेपर छपने में, पेपर छपने में 2 दिन लगता है और सेंटर्स पे पहुंचने में 2 दिन लगता है. So only recommendation would be that last 10 days, probably 25th 27th of November तक तो बिल्कुल करना है, 25th November तक तो बिल्कुल ही करना है. That is very very important. ठीक है. How to cover backlog fast? It is all about giving yourself time. That's what I've already spoken about. I think I've covered a lot during this session. How to complete a full mock in time? Sectional time limit. हर सेक्शन को टाइम देना होगा and ensuring that you stick to that time limit. What I always recommend is for English, you should be keeping somewhere around 22-24 minutes. The limit should be 25 minutes. Even if you have solved only 10 questions, even if your strength area, but you are stuck at 10th question, move ahead because you are losing time. Similarly, for quant, at least 12 minutes is important. For GK, 12 minutes is important. For reasoning section, another 25, and legal will take 35. That will still give you around 8 to 10 minutes of buffer. 2 minutes will go for the OMR filling. That still will give you buffer. Following the sectional time limit is very, very critical. Practice through analog watches, but do it mentally. That would be better. The rule is to go ahead. Wherever you get stuck, always go ahead because you'll only be wasting time. You know, last year a lot of students wasted time. In fact, even I wasted time while doing that analytical reasoning set. After 10 minutes, I realized there is something wrong. When we were coming out of the examination hall, everybody was talking about that. But most of the students wasted time over there, isn't it? So for you guys, it is important to understand that time is of essence over there. Sectional time limit में रहना बहुत ही जरूरी है. आगे बढ़ते रहना बहुत ही जरूरी है. Don't let your love for the subjects come your way. Legal बहुत अच्छा है, but वहां stuck कर रहे हैं उस दिन, आगे बढ़ो. जितना होता है टाइम बचेगा तो बाद में आकर के देख लेंगे. ठीक है. Will the exam be provided 5-7 minutes early to fill the details? No, it is included in that 120 minute by my dear friends. No extra time is given. No extra time is given. 120 minutes includes your OMR filling as well. Those 3-4 parameters. Don't worry more than that. वो 2 मिनट से ज्यादा नहीं लगता, but you have to be only careful. Okay. So I think we can stop it over here. And we'll continue doing the session. Govind sir is always there with you guys. I'll be also now coming back because we are heading towards the final strategy plans. So, and those who are LST students, don't forget to join us on Sunday. You'll get the information by tomorrow for the finale of the race to NLUs 2026. Starts at 9:30 a.m. The link will be available in my zone. आपको सिर्फ join करना है. ठीक है. Simply join करना है 9:30 and we'll be talking about the last final days exactly किस तरीके से अब देखना है तो वो हम वहां पे कवर करेंगे. ओके. चलो guys, thank you so much. Good evening. All the best. Continue practicing. That's very very important. Recap. Keep yourself in practice mode. Try giving 6 to 7 hours. Chronological order GK पीछे जाना है, पीछे से आगे नहीं आना है, पीछे की ओर जाना है. Quantitative techniques को भी टाइम देना है, at least on alternate days. That is very very important. That is very very important. Okay, see you guys next time. All the best. Thank you so much.